Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our channel once again. William Ruto is a worried man and Statehouse is in panic mode because yesterday Rigathi Gachagua called on the international community to issue sanctions against President William Ruto over the conflict in Sudan. For those who've been following regional politics very closely, in late February, the Rapid Response Forces and the allied groups inked a landmark charter in Nairobi, setting up parallel governments in the areas they are controlling in Sudan. That was a huge diplomatic blunder by William Ruto that caused a lot of political storm in the region.
Do you see the guy in the middle of this photo? The one with his fist raised. His name is Abdul Rahim Dagalo. He's the deputy leader of the Rapid Support Forces, the paramilitary group accused of committing genocide in Sudan. The guy in the portrait above him is William Ruto, Kenya's president. This photo was taken on Tuesday, 18th February, at the state-owned Kenyatta International Convention Center in Nairobi. While Sudan burns, Kenya's ruling elite rolled out the red carpet for the warlords accused of genocide. This RSF event marked an early step in RSF's move towards establishing its own breakaway government. How now? The RSF's crimes are well documented. Just last month, nearly 500 people, including infants, were butchered in White Nile State. 2 years ago, in 2023, RSF killed more than 15,000 Sudanese from the ethnically African Masalit community. Years earlier, between 2003 and 2008, RSF, known back then as Janjaweed Militia, was accused of the death of more than 300 ethnically African Sudanese in Darfur. So why will Kenya's ruling elite align with a group committing war crimes? One word: gold. The RSF isn't just a militia, it's a gold empire. Sudan is Africa's third largest gold producer, and the RSF controls the country's richest gold mines. In 2022 alone, Sudan exported over 2 billion worth of gold, much of it smuggled out of the country through illicit networks. And guess who are amongst the biggest beneficiaries of this dirty trade? The United Arab Emirates. It seems that Kenya's ruling elite now want a cut of this blood gold. Kenya's corrupt ruling elite must know that hosting warlords accused of genocide at a state-owned venue is not diplomacy, it is complicity. So what can we do? We must speak up. More specifically, all African countries must implement policies banning diplomatic, political, social, and economic ties with militias and nations accused of genocide, whether directly or indirectly. Presidents who facilitate such affiliation must be exposed and held accountable.
As a matter of fact, at that time, most Kenyans did not understand William Ruto's interests in the Sudan conflict. And I remember the US government voicing their concerns about the formation of a parallel government in Kenya. The United Nations Security Council expressed grave concerns about Kenyan's involvement on that particular matter. And Sudan government issued a statement. Let me just read for you the statement by that time by Sudan government. This is what Sudan government wrote. Press statement. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs regrets the Kenyan government disregard for its obligation under international law, the Charter of the United Nations, the Constitutive Act of African Union, and the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment for Crimes of Genocide by hosting the event of signing a so-called political agreement between the terrorists Janjaweed militia responsible for ongoing acts of genocide in Sudan and its affiliated individuals and groups. I don't want to get into that. And the other nations also issued statements. But the question is, what was William Ruto's interest? So yesterday, Rigathi Gachagua addressed the nation. And this is what Rigathi Gachagua said about William Ruto and the rebel movement in Sudan and why he's facilitating their activities in Nairobi.
There's a rebel movement called RSF. And the leader of that group is called Hemeti, has been the vice president of Sudan. So in 2023, William Ruto called me to his office and told me that diplomatically, a president can only invite a president to visit him, and he has a friend who is a vice president and he cannot invite him. So he wanted me to invite him on his behalf.
I recall you said this.
And he had a letter.
Yes.
I signed that letter, and Hemeti came, and we met, we discussed about Kenya and Sudan, but that was not the purpose of the visit. I took him to the president. Later on, I realized they are doing business. After some time, it came clear to me that the international community had placed international sanctions against Hemeti because of genocide, killing women and children, displacing people, and no other crimes against humanity. So President William Ruto called me again and told me to invite Hemeti again. And I told him, Mr. President, this is a butcher of women and children. And he is using our country through your friendship to bring gold from Sudan, clean it in Nairobi, take it to the Middle East, use the funds to buy arms to go and kill people in the Sudan. I told him, Mr. President, I am a father. I am a Christian. Just the way we are killing our children here through abductions, I cannot be party to what is happening in the Sudan, and I cannot invite Hemeti here because he's coming here to clean his gold here, sell it in the Middle East, buy arms, go and kill children. I said, I will not. He said, you must. You are my deputy. This guy is my friend. We are doing biashara. Do you know by him not coming here what I'm going to lose? I said, Mr. President, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to invite that man here. So you invite him yourself or do whatever you want. He said, wewe Rigathi umekuwa mjeuri. I am instructing you to sign a letter here to invite a vice president of a country. You say you cannot. I said, I won't. This man has international sanctions against him. This is a man who is butchering women and children, Mr. President. I'm a Christian. I'm a father. I will not do it. I went. Later on, I learned my signature was forged to invite him. I went, I faced the president. I told him, if this man lands in this country on an invitation purportedly signed by me, I would disown him. So the visit was stood down. And then he told me, well, Taniona, I am tired of you. You are a very difficult character. You are the worst mistake I've made in my 35 years of politics. I regret having nominated you as my deputy. You are a very difficult character. I am president. I'm telling you to do, and you say you are blackmailing me that you are going to disown the letter. I refused. I want to say this. For the deaths occurring in the Sudan, the real commander of RSF is not Hemeti, it's William Ruto, because for a movement to succeed, it needs money. The money from gold is being cleaned through Kenya to buy arms to go and kill women and children.
And you know my next question would be to substantiate these claims.
But I'm saying this guy was here, his movement was here the other day.
That's in the public
Listen,
domain.
no, I'm asking you. This man is international sanctions against him for genocide.
True.
He has been given a safe haven in Nairobi. He was here forming a government in KICC. That cannot happen without William Ruto. And I want to tell the international community.
But the claims of doing business...
No, everybody knows that he is selling gold through Nairobi. You may pretend not to know, or
I'm not pretending. Don't shoot the messenger.
Everybody knows.
I'm just trying to find out.
Everybody
made claims that the president is doing business.
Everybody knows that why William Ruto is having relations with Hemedi through Nairobi is for the gold business. And the gold business, the proceeds are buying arms to butcher children and women. And I want to ask the international community, and I want to say I'm available to give evidence, and I want to tell the international community, it is pointless to levy sanctions against Hemedi. The person you need to levy sanctions against is William Ruto. And this thing of Sudan will be sorted out, because if there are sanctions against William Ruto, he'll stop entertaining Hemedi. Gold will stop being processed in Nairobi. There will be no money to buy arms to go and kill children and women. Number two.
How is this gold being cleaned in Nairobi? Because unless you were party to it, that's what I'm trying to find out. I'm saying
I was deputy president.
So should we treat it as allegations?
I was deputy president.
Okay.
I know what goes on in this country. I have a lot of information. Even today, when I'm out of government, I have serious networks within this administration. There is nothing that goes on that I don't know.
Okay, well.
But the biggest question is, can the international community sanction President William Samoei Arap Ruto over the Sudan conflict? Before we get into all those, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without the support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, allow me to dive in. But again, before I dive in, allow me guys to introduce you guys to BRICS Solutions. BRICS Solutions is your #1 partner in point of sales and ERP solutions. Currently, BRICS has one of the best point of sales softwares in the market, designed specifically for hardware, supermarkets, petrol stations, fashion shops, pharmacies, schools, and others. You can contact them on the numbers you are seeing on your screen there for live demonstrations. Ladies and gentlemen, let us dive in. Can the international community sanction William Ruto over his involvement on the Sudan conflict? That is the question. And for those who followed the interview with Rigathi Gachagua, it is now very clear that William Ruto has been committing serious diplomatic blunders. We all remember that Raila Odinga was defeated in his bid of becoming the chair of the African Union Commission. And that defeat was as a result of William Ruto's blunders. For example, the Sudan conflict played a major role. Kenya is supporting the rebel groups. We all know that Middle East are not supporting that rebel group. And therefore, they influenced Northern Africa to vote against Kenya. Raila Odinga also lost because of DRC. SADC, listening to Rigathi Gachagua also dragging in William Ruto over the DRC conflict.
3 billion liters. Na tuko na soko kuanzia hapa DRC, hao watu wako na 90 million people, hawana ng'ombe moja. Hii DRC watu ya kuimba hii watu ya sijana kwanda bongoma nani hawa
can confirm that he is creating problems in DRC through involvement with M23 because of his interest in gold business in the DRC. And as the chairman of the East African community, William Ruto can also have a problem with this region, because he is an interested party because of commercial interest. And that is why you found that our embassy in Kinshasa was attacked by the people of that country because of our involvement, in the internal affairs of that country, and involvement with the rebel movement against a legally established government. Right. So these are things that the president and I were disagreeing from time to time.
In fact, the reason why SADC never voted for Raila Odinga was because of that blunder by William Samoei Arap Ruto. But shockingly, Rigathi Gachagua also dragged Kosovo into the matter. Because remember, Kenya recently recognized the Republic of Kosovo. That was also, most Kenyans considered it a diplomatic blunder. But Rigathi Gachagua, in his own wisdom, is telling Kenyans that the reason why William Ruto did this is because he's doing business with the president of Kosovo.
Because it had become apparent to everybody. Nobody in the cabinet can face William Ruto. I was the only person. So what was happening is that where people felt things are not going well, they would come and see me. They told me that internationally it is unwise for the Kenyan government to acknowledge or recognize Kosovo. And that will create us problems internationally. And they say, we want you to talk to the president, because none of us can talk to him because he's adamant that we need to recognize Kosovo and it will create us international problems. And I went to see the president and I said, Mr. President, senior officials from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs have come to see me over this matter. And he was mad. He was in a rage. He wanted to know who they are. I said, I cannot tell you because you'll fire them. But this is information. Please don't do it. It will soil our image. He said, go to hell. I am the president. I make decisions in this country. And if you don't like it, you can quit this government. And Rigathi, please, keep off foreign affairs. I said, Mr. President, these are concerns that have been raised to me. This is about our image internationally. Yeah, and I think it is only fair that you listen to me. Only for me to come and realize later that the president and the president of Kosovo are having a business deal in Mombasa, over a hotel in Mombasa.
Which hotel is this?
Let me give you the name. It's escaping my mind.
So the biggest question is, can the international community sanction Kenya over the Sudan conflict? I don't know, because one thing I know, before Biden left the presidency, Kenya was playing a critical role for America in Africa. But can the international community sanction Kenya? That's something we don't know for now. But what we know is that Kenya is now currently being viewed as a conduit for illegal gold. You talk of Sudan, you talk of DRC. Again, there is also the element of smuggling of weapons through Kenya. Because as Rigathi Gachagua is putting it, there is no way a movement like that can be sustained without money. And of course, if William Ruto's interest or Kenya's interest in these countries is President William Ruto's personal interest, then I'm 100% sure that very soon we'll start seeing sanctions, not necessarily on the president, but some of his allies. And of course, the fact that Kenya can safely host a rebel movement, it means it's providing it with a safe haven. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what is going to happen, but William Ruto is the first president of the Republic of Kenya to be is the first president of the Republic of Kenya to be accused by his former deputy, of interfering with external and internal affairs of other countries. And therefore, the first president to be challenged. And therefore, the first president likely to face international sanctions. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what to think, but that's my take. Until next time, this is Makwiny. Bye-bye.